Andre sat on a worn wooden bench in the temple courtyard, staring at the koi fish gliding through the pond. Their effortless movement made him feel heavier, as if the weight of his own thoughts was pulling him deeper into the earth. The Zen monk, dressed in simple robes, knelt beside him and poured tea. "I feel lost," Andre admitted, taking a deep breath. "We live in a performance-obsessed world. Everything is measured. Our success at work, in society, even in our own families. And when we do well, we're rewarded with praise, awards, status. But when we don't," his voice trailed off. The monk nodded, his eyes calm as still water. "And what happens when we don't?" Andre hesitated. "Then, we are not enough, not successful enough, not worthy enough." The monk poured another cup of tea. "Tell me, Andre, do you compare yourself to others?" "Of course, everyone does." The monk smiled. "Ah, but how do you compare yourself?" Andre frowned. "I guess I compare to see where I stand. If I fit in, if I measure up." The monk picked up a small, smooth stone from the ground and placed it on the wooden table between them. "This stone," the monk said, "has never wished to be a mountain, nor feared being a grain of sand. It simply is." Andre shifted uncomfortably. "That's nice, but we're not stones. We're people. And in this world, we have to prove ourselves to be worth something." The monk nodded. "Yes. And there are 8 billion people in the world, each with a different opinion on what that worth should be. Some will say success is money. Others will say it is kindness. Some will measure by productivity, others by wisdom." Andre exhaled. "Exactly. There are so many ways to be good enough that I feel like I will always fall short." The monk took a sip of tea and then pointed at the stone again. "The problem is not that you compare," he said gently. "The problem is that you compare using your own insecurity as the ruler. And that ruler always tells you the same thing. You are not enough." Andre stared at the stone, then at the tea in his hands. The weight in his chest felt familiar, like an old burden he had carried for years, never questioning if it belonged to him. "So what do I do?" he asked softly. The monk smiled. "Put down the ruler." Andre frowned. "That's easier said than done." The monk nodded. "Yes, but tell me, if a bird spends its life measuring itself against the sky, will it ever feel like it has flown high enough?" Andre thought for a long moment. He watched the koi fish move without hesitation, without comparison. He closed his eyes, exhaled, and let the weight in his chest loosen, just a little. The monk poured more tea. For the first time in a long time, Andre simply sat, and for that moment, it was enough.